welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This right here is the Hot Town. So, the whole idea behind this show is that we come as a group and collect as much information as we can about topics that are affecting you and I as teenagers in Kenya. So, the thing is, we're not actually giving you advice on what you should do, but we're giving you as much information as we can so that you can come to your own conclusion on some of these hot topics or trends. So, I personally won't be giving you that much information, but what I do have seated next to me are our panelists. And I think now is the best time we should introduce them. Starting on this side, we have
Maya Weganjo,
Askil Abdullahi,
Yomi Joroge.
and Karen Amani.
So, the topic of today is going to be the impact of social media on teenagers like you and I. So, social media is usually interesting because it is multifaceted. This means that social media has both positive and negative effects on us as teenagers. There are ways that we use and ways that we misuse social media. Now, today we're going to be going over the positive effects, the negative effects, and once you have negative effects, you get a problem. So we'll also be looking at ways that we think we can solve those problems. Now, as we go on, I think the first thing we should do is look at the positive effects of social media. And here, we're going to start off with Maya.
One of the positive effects is social media facilitates communication. This can be through platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, etc. Yes, and it also helps build a sense of community. Yes.
Okay, so which types of platforms do you usually use the most to connect with?
Personally, I use Instagram a lot. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. And I think you guys, it would be nice for us to know here what type of platforms you use the most when you're trying to get to know people and build up a community. So next off, how about we hear what you have to say?
When you hear the term social media, you obviously start thinking about a wide source of information. A good example of how social media is used to gain information is how, for example, here in Kenya right now, is the serious case of femicide. And through social media, women are able to gain a voice and speak out to people in the country and tell them that we need to make a stand and stop it. Another example of how social media has been used to pass information was how Trump collected videos and other sources of info and used other sources of information and posted them on Instagram to make his competitor Joe Biden look like for his term as president he hasn't really done much. Yeah.
That's a great point. And if we go back to the point on femicide, that's something that it's only as big as it is today because of social media. In fact, it's something that we here would love to hear your thoughts on because it's something that we should all be discussing and looking into as a country to make ourselves better and, build a stronger community.
Social media helps one express themselves freely and be creative. You see, platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are people use those apps to express themselves, to showcase their talents and hobbies and their artistic endeavors. People like Ajib Gadoni and Flaco Raz, they are content creators who they do what they like on social media, plus it is easier to express yourself in front of a camera than in a crowd, than in front of a group of people, you see.
That's true. If you guys were all here looking at us right now, we'd probably be having a harder time because we'd be so nervous. And it's true, people are making money and building careers that you yourself can do as well just from using social media. And those are some excellent points on the positive side of social media. But once you've gone to that, there's also the negative side. And I think we'll go right back to you. What do you think?
I'd say one of the negative effects of social media would be cyberbullying. People like bringing others down. For example, on Instagram or TikTok comments, you'd see someone will look for something negative in you instead of something positive, just to bring you down, which causes mental distress and which leads to teenagers self-harming, people committing suicide. Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of times when people are making these comments, they see it as funny. And people in the comment section actually encourage them while telling them that's funny or whatever, and it makes their friends laugh and stuff. But I know for a lot of you out there, you're really struggling with this. So if you don't have anyone to talk to, you're always free to contact us, and we'd be happy to help you. I think now we'll go back to this side, and let's go to our boy now. What do you think, Has?
I think one of the main negative impacts of social media is the mental health impact. Excessive use of social media can cause someone to have mental disorders like anxiety, depression, which can also ultimately lead to suicide. Excessive use of social media can also lead to loss of social skills. This, you can see someone, your classmate, in real life he will not talk to you, but then online on IG he will be very active, he'll talk to you very freely. And then also she also said people express themselves on TikTok, and you see someone very beautiful, people hype themselves up on the comment section, and you'll also think, oh, I'm not that beautiful. You'll start feeling very insecure and everything, so you cannot reach the persona or understand it that the social media has set. This is one of the main impacts that people have contributed to the society.
That's very true. Guys, you always have to remember that at the end of the day, everyone is built uniquely. Everyone is who they are, and that's the most important thing. It's not a must that you look like someone else, but what you have to understand is even sometimes you have to have a little bit of pride for you to really understand that you're beauty, and your beauty is yours and yours alone.
I think one of the negative effects of social media is a big problem about security, where one can be tricked into giving out personal information. Yeah.
A lot of times nowadays, we have people who are scamming and people who are, people have lost so much money because of social media. Because somebody comes over here, tells you, I have this gig, you guys have had the stories of guys like, there's this Instagram guy who's really young, who was scamming people that he would sell his account, but every time they paid, he would just leave them there and move on with life like it was nothing. And this is actual money that people have. And then also something you also have to know is there are so many negative effects, but one thing people usually don't talk about is how you can be stuck on something and you don't know how to set free. But I can't really tell you about that because my friend here, Yomi, knows all the details.
Most people in the world have a phone in their pocket at all times, and it's become something that we become really dependent on. Is it to take pictures, to find information, to nowadays you can pay with a phone and all that, and it's become very useful. But when you look at it from a view of social media, you look at it and you realize that some children get really attached to social media. They become addicted to getting new information. They want to be the first to know. And it's also the feeling of not knowing. Everyone else around you knows and you don't know it. And that really makes you you stop focusing on other things. You focus mainly on social media. You become addicted, attached. And this leads to you you talk less to people. You become, let's say, if you used to speak a lot, now you become an introvert. You're just always on your phone. You're glued to the screen. You're always paying attention to it. You're constantly looking at notifications that pop up to make sure, because you fear missing out and contributing to these conversations that you have with your peers and such.
That's an excellent point. And social media has all these negative things, but with these negative things that it brings, we have to find solutions. So here, as a group, we came up with some of these solutions. And let's keep it on the boys now. We'll go to you, Ashley.
Parental guidance. Parents can play a major role in teenagers' online behavior. Imagine right now you're creating an email, it will ask you if you're creating for yourself or for a child. If you're creating for a child, you have restrictions about now where games they can play above age of 18, which YouTube videos can they watch above, and which movies can they watch. Now the parents can also help them guide. Right now you can't let a 5-year-old watch YouTube, or we also have YouTube Kids for them. And also Netflix, we have Netflix Kids.
Yeah. So for any parents watching, we encourage you to, as much as you can, try and monitor the things your child is watching and taking in, because sometimes the eyes can be the door to the soul. Sometimes whatever they see can really affect who they are as a person.
I feel like one of the main ways of solving all of these issues is educating. This is whereby a parent, just like you said, a parent will put restrictions and tell their kids what platforms to use, how to use them, and why are they using them. Yes.
That's a great point. A lot of times there are places that need to be restricted from the youth, even if we don't want to admit it. And it's something that I think everyone should look into, and it's something that some platforms have actually done a great job at. Like, there are some things I can't watch because I'm not 18.
What I mainly want to talk about is platform regulation. This is basically where social media platforms, for example, YouTube. Yeah, let's talk about YouTube. YouTube has a set, it has an age restriction for different videos. So you can't, as long as you've set up the account properly, you don't have to worry about your child who's probably aged 10 watching explicit videos that are too much for his young mind to comprehend. Let's also talk about things like social media in general. When you create the Gmail account, like Haskell said, and you create for your child, if they want to sign up for certain accounts, they have to seek permission from a parent. And these platform regulations help involve the parent in a child's social media life.
That's true. So is there any platforms you think should be more restricted?
X is free. You can post literally anything on X and nothing really, it doesn't get taken down or anything like that. It's just left there. And I get X was bought recently by Elon Musk, and I'm not outing Elon Musk or anything, but I personally think that he should set age restrictions on X to prevent young children from seeing things that they shouldn't be seeing.
Okay. So now that we've given you some of the positive, negative, and solutions, I think we can start to kind of get an idea of what social media is and the ways that it interplays, because it's like a coin. You have two sides of the coin. You have good things, bad things, and then you kind of have the middle. Because like we said earlier, there's positive in the negative and there's still negative in the positive. It's all interconnected. So our aim today was not necessarily to tell you whether social media is good or whether it's bad, but we're just trying to give you a better idea of what you're really getting into when you're talking about the internet and connecting with people. Personally, I've met amazing people, but I've also met bad people. So it's all a matter of just wisdom and choosing the right time, the right things, the right place for everything you want to do on your phone, etc. So with that, I think we can come to our conclusion for today's episode, and we really hope you've enjoyed. Leave any comments on anything I had said earlier, because I did ask, because we love to hear from you guys. And for anything you just want to add, we'd be happy to even revisit the topic, or if any of you want to, you can even come and we can have guests and talk about all the things that you guys want to talk about. We're open for suggestion, and we hope you have an amazing week. I've been your host, Gabriel Baraka.
Maya Waiganjo.
Haskell Abdullahi.
Yomi Joroge.
Karen Amani.
And we hope you've really enjoyed the podcast. We hope you have a blessed week and that you join us for the next one.